Have you ever wondered why, out of the billions of people on this planet, certain individuals are magnetically drawn to you? Why some relationships feel predetermined, as if written in the stars long before you met? Pause dramatically. What if I told you that according to Carl Jung, one of history's most brilliant psychological minds, you were specifically chosen for love? That the deepest connections in your life aren't random accidents but profound psychological alignments that Jung spent decades decoding? Today I'm going to reveal the two astonishing reasons why certain people are destined to love you, reasons that are embedded within your very psyche. This isn't about superficial attraction or compatibility tests. This is about the profound unconscious forces that Carl Jung discovered, forces that are actively shaping your love life right now, whether you realize it or not. The knowledge I'm about to share has transformed countless relationships from confusion to clarity, from pain to profound connection. Some of my viewers have called this information life-changing, the missing piece they've been searching for their entire lives. Before we dive deep into Jung's revelations about why you're chosen for love, I need to warn you, what I'm about to share might fundamentally change how you view every relationship you've ever had. Are you ready to see beyond the surface and understand the true psychological forces drawing love into your life? If you're new here, this is where the real journey into Jungian psychology begins. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications now, because what you're about to discover about yourself and your relationships can't be found anywhere else. Let me ask you, have you ever felt an inexplicable connection with someone the moment you met them? That strange feeling that your souls recognized each other? There's a profound Jungian reason for this, and it's far more powerful than most people realize. That powerful sense of recognition, that feeling that someone gets you instantly, is what Jung called the Anima/Animus projection. This isn't just attraction, it's your unconscious mind recognizing something profoundly important. According to Jung, every person carries within them psychological elements of both masculine and feminine energies. Men carry an inner feminine archetype called the Anima. Women carry an inner masculine archetype called the Animus. These aren't stereotypes, they're complex psychological patterns that shape how we love and who we're drawn to. Here's where it gets fascinating. When you meet someone who embodies qualities that match your inner anima or animus, something incredible happens. Your unconscious mind essentially says, "There you are. I've been looking for you my entire life." This is the first powerful reason you're chosen for love, because you represent someone else's internal psychological ideal. Think about it, have you ever met someone and felt an immediate, unexplainable connection? As if you've known them your entire life? That wasn't coincidence. According to Jung, you were literally manifesting their inner psychological template for the ideal partner. Let me make this clear. When someone is drawn to you this way, it's not just about physical appearance or shared interests. It's because something in your essence, your manner, your spirit, your energy, resonates with their deepest psychological patterns. You're quite literally the external manifestation of their internal ideal. I need you to really absorb this for a moment. People are falling in love with you because you represent something ancient and powerful within their psyche. Something they've been searching for their entire lives, often without even knowing it. You are the answer to an unconscious question they've been asking since childhood. This is why certain connections feel so destined, so inevitable. It's not just chemistry, it's psychology at its most profound level. When someone is drawn to you this way, they're seeing something in you that completes their psychological wholeness. Jung discovered that these Anima/Animus projections are most intense when they connect with elements of our own personality that remain unconscious to us. It's not just attraction, it's a pathway to psychological wholeness that's been encoded in our minds through thousands of years of human evolution. But here's where many relationships run into trouble. When we project our anima or animus onto someone, we're initially seeing them through the lens of our own psychological needs rather than who they truly are. This is why early stages of relationships often feel magical, almost dreamlike. You're quite literally living in a beautiful psychological projection. Now, let's explore the second powerful reason you're chosen for love, according to Jung, and this one might be even more profound than the first. It involves what Jung called the shadow. Your shadow contains all the parts of yourself you've rejected, repressed, or never developed. It's the aspects of your personality that don't fit your self-image. The traits you've pushed into the dark corners of your psyche because they didn't align with who you think you should be. Here's the revelation that changes everything. Jung discovered that we are powerfully, almost irresistibly attracted to people who express our shadow qualities. Think about that. The parts of yourself you've rejected are precisely what draw certain people to you like a magnet. Let me explain why this is so transformative for understanding your relationships. When someone falls in love with qualities in you that you don't fully acknowledge or express, They're essentially loving parts of you that you haven't learned to love yourself. They see wholeness in you that you might not even recognize. Have you ever had someone deeply attracted to aspects of your personality that you consider flaws? According to Jung, this isn't coincidence. It's a profound psychological alignment. They're drawn to your shadow elements because those elements represent freedom, expression, and wholeness that they crave in themselves. Stay with me because this next insight might completely transform how you view your relationships. When someone loves your shadow aspects, those parts of yourself you've been taught to hide or repress, they're offering you a pathway to wholeness that few people ever experience. This is why certain relationships feel so liberating. When someone accepts and even celebrates the parts of you that you've hidden away, it creates a psychological environment where you can finally become whole. This is love at its most healing and transformative level. Jung observed that our most intense attractions often involve this shadow dynamic. We're drawn to people who embody qualities we've repressed in ourselves. The quiet person falls for the expressive one. The cautious person is drawn to the risk-taker. The rational person falls for the intuitive dreamer. Think about your own relationships. Have you noticed this pattern? Are you consistently drawn to people who express qualities you secretly wish you could express? Or are others drawn to you because you embody freedom they haven't allowed themselves? Now that you understand these two powerful Jungian reasons why you're chosen for love, the Anima/Animus projection and the shadow attraction, let's dive deeper into why this knowledge is so transformative. Jung called the journey to psychological wholeness individuation, the process of integrating all aspects of your personality, including those you've rejected or haven't yet discovered. And here's the profound truth. Relationships are one of the most powerful pathways to individuation. When someone chooses you for love, they're not just selecting a partner, they're unconsciously selecting a guide for their own psychological growth. You represent both their ideal, Anima/Animus, and their unrealized potential, shadow. This makes you incredibly powerful in their psychological journey. But this works both ways. The people you're drawn to are also mirrors reflecting parts of yourself you need to integrate. This is why relationship challenges are often so painful. They're not just interpersonal conflicts. They're internal psychological conflicts being played out between two people. Jung observed that our most significant relationships often follow a pattern. Initial projection and idealization, followed by disillusionment when the projection breaks down, followed by either separation or a deeper, more authentic connection based on seeing the real person rather than the projection. Let me ask you a critical question. In your relationships, have you noticed a pattern where initial attraction gives way to conflict about the very things that initially drew you together? This isn't coincidence. It's the natural progression of psychological projection being worked through between two people. This is why understanding these Jungian principles is so powerful. When you know you're chosen for love because you represent someone's Anima/Animus and shadow elements, you can navigate relationships with profound awareness instead of unconscious reactivity. Most people spend their entire lives caught in these psychological patterns without understanding them. They fall in love with projections, experience disillusionment when the projections break down, and then repeat the cycle with someone new, never realizing that the real journey is towards psychological integration. But you now have knowledge that puts you at a profound advantage. You understand that love isn't just about finding the right person. It's about the psychological journey two people undertake together, each helping the other become more whole, more integrated, more fully themselves. This knowledge transforms relationships from sources of pain and confusion into pathways to profound psychological growth. When you understand why you're chosen for love, you can engage with relationships at a much deeper level of awareness and purpose. There's another layer to why you're chosen for love that goes even deeper than individual psychology. Jung discovered what he called the collective unconscious, a layer of the psyche that contains shared human experiences across all cultures and times. Within this collective unconscious exist archetypes, universal patterns or models of people, behaviors, or personalities. These archetypes appear in the myths, stories, and art of every culture throughout human history. And according to Jung, they profoundly influence who we're drawn to and who is drawn to us. When someone is powerfully attracted to you, it's often because you embody an archetypal pattern that resonates with them at the collective unconscious level. You might represent the hero, the caregiver, the sage, the explorer, or dozens of other archetypal energies that humans have been drawn to since the beginning of time. This is why certain people seem to consistently cast you in the same role in their lives. If you embody qualities of the caregiver archetype, for instance, people who need nurturing will be drawn to you across multiple relationships. If you embody the hero archetype, people who need rescue or protection will consistently find their way to you. I want you to pause and reflect on this question. What archetypal energy do you tend to embody in your relationships? Are you the wise mentor? The playful spirit? The strong protector? Understanding your archetypal energy helps you understand why specific types of people are consistently drawn to you. This archetypal connection explains why certain relationships feel so profound, so much larger than life. When you connect with someone at the archetypal level, you're not just connecting as two individuals, you're enacting a pattern of relationship that has existed throughout human history. Jung observed that our most powerful relationships often involve this archetypal resonance. It's why certain connections feel destined or fated, because they're tapping into patterns that exist in the collective human experience, patterns that feel ancient and powerful. This is also why relationship dynamics can feel so intense and sometimes overwhelming. When you're engaged in an archetypal connection, you're not just dealing with personal psychology, you're channeling energies that have shaped human relationships for thousands of years. Understanding this archetypal dimension gives you tremendous power in your relationships. Instead of being unconsciously driven by these ancient patterns, you can engage with them consciously, choosing which aspects to embrace and which to transform. Another fascinating reason you're chosen for love, according to Jung, involves what he called synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that cannot be explained by cause and effect but seem to reveal an underlying pattern or connection. Jung observed that when two people are psychologically aligned for a significant relationship, synchronistic events often bring them together or confirm their connection. These aren't just random coincidences. They're manifestations of a deeper psychological alignment between two people. Have you ever met someone under circumstances that seemed impossible, as if the universe conspired to bring you together? Perhaps you kept encountering the same person in different contexts, or you both reached for the same book in a library, or you discovered uncanny similarities in your life stories. According to Jung, these synchronistic events often signal that two people are aligned at a deep psychological level. Your unconscious minds are recognizing each other, creating a field of connection that manifests as meaningful coincidences in the physical world. This is why certain relationships feel as if they're meant to be. The synchronistic events surrounding your meeting and connection suggest a deeper pattern at work, one that operates beyond conscious intention or random chance. Think about your most significant relationships. Did synchronistic events play a role in bringing you together? Did meaningful coincidences confirm your connection? These aren't just interesting stories, they're clues to the deeper psychological alignment that Jung discovered is at the heart of our most powerful relationships. Jung found that synchronicity tends to increase during times of psychological transformation or when archetypal energies are strongly constellated in our lives. This explains why we often meet significant partners during major life transitions. We're more psychologically open and aligned with deeper patterns during these times. This synchronistic dimension of relationships adds another layer to why you're chosen for love. Beyond conscious attraction, beyond psychological projection, there exists a pattern-seeking function in the psyche that recognizes when two people are psychologically aligned for significant growth together. Understanding this synchronistic aspect gives you a different perspective on fate or destiny in relationships. Rather than simple predetermined outcomes, synchronicity suggests that our unconscious minds are constantly seeking meaningful connections that support our psychological development. When someone is drawn to you through synchronistic events, it suggests a deep psychological alignment beyond conscious awareness. You represent something essential for their journey, just as they represent something essential for yours. There's another profound reason certain people are drawn to you, according to Jung's understanding, what he called the wounded healer dynamic. This psychological pattern explains some of our most powerful and transformative connections. Jung discovered that we're often drawn to people who carry healing for our particular wounds, and they're drawn to us because we carry healing for theirs. This isn't about codependency, it's about a profound psychological alignment where two people's wounds and gifts perfectly complement each other. Think about it, have you noticed that people often come to you with the exact issues you've worked to heal in yourself? Or perhaps you're drawn to people who struggle with challenges you've overcome. This is the wounded healer dynamic at work, and it's one of the most powerful reasons you're chosen for love. According to Jung, our deepest wounds become our greatest gifts once we've integrated them. The childhood pain you've worked through becomes wisdom. The rejection you've healed becomes profound acceptance you can offer others. The fear you've faced becomes courage you can inspire in someone else. This is why people who need your specific form of healing are drawn to you like a magnet. At an unconscious level, they recognize that you carry medicine for their particular pain. And you recognize that they carry medicine for yours. Many of history's greatest healers, teachers, and therapists were initially drawn to their field because of their own wounds. Jung himself developed analytical psychology partly as a response to his own psychological struggles. Our wounds become our calling when properly integrated. In relationships, this wounded healer dynamic creates powerful bonds. When two people recognize and honor each other's wounds and gifts, they create a container for profound healing and growth. This isn't about fixing each other, it's about creating a relationship where both people can become more whole. Jung observed that our most healing relationships often involve this dynamic. The qualities that make you an excellent partner for someone are often directly connected to the wounds you've worked to heal in yourself. Your capacity for patience might come from having learned to be patient with your own healing process. Your ability to listen deeply might come from having felt unheard as a child. This wounded healer aspect explains why certain people feel so safe with you immediately. At some level, they recognize that you understand their pain because you've walked a similar path. This creates trust and openness that can't be manufactured or forced. Understanding this dynamic gives you tremendous compassion both for yourself and for those drawn to you. Instead of seeing relationship patterns as random or merely based on attraction, you can recognize the deeper healing invitation present in each significant connection. Jung's theory of psychological types, which later evolved into the Myers-Briggs type indicator and other personality systems, reveals another reason why certain people are chosen for love: psychological type compatibility. Jung identified different psychological functions: thinking, feeling, sensation, intuition, and attitudes, introversion and extroversion, that shape how we perceive and interact with the world. He discovered that we're often drawn to people whose psychological type complements our own, creating a more complete psychological system between two people. If you're primarily oriented toward thinking, you might be drawn to someone who excels at feeling. Someone who brings emotional intelligence and values-based decision-making to balance your logical approach. If you're strongly intuitive, you might be drawn to someone grounded in sensation, who helps you connect with concrete reality while you help them see bigger patterns. This psychological type compatibility explains why you're chosen by people who seem to complement your own strengths and weaknesses. They're not just attracted to you, they're unconsciously seeking psychological wholeness through relationship with you. Jung observed that we often project our less developed functions onto others. If feeling is your inferior function, you might project it onto a partner who embodies those qualities, both admiring and sometimes resenting their emotional expressiveness. This projection creates both attraction and tension in relationships. Understanding your own psychological type and how it relates to others gives you tremendous insight into your relationship patterns. It helps you recognize that many of your attractions and conflicts aren't personal. They're related to psychological type dynamics seeking balance and integration. This is why certain relationships feel like they complete you, because at a psychological level, they do bring forward qualities that balance and complement your own natural strengths. The introverted thinker finds wholeness with the extrovert feeler. The intuitive dreamer finds grounding with the sensate realist. When someone chooses you for love, they're often unconsciously recognizing that your psychological type offers something essential for their own wholeness. You represent psychological functions they need to integrate for their own development. This explains why relationships can be both deeply satisfying and challenging. They bring us face to face with the psychological functions we most need to develop. Your partner might embody qualities you both admire and find challenging precisely because those qualities represent your own path of growth. Understanding psychological type compatibility transforms how you view relationship dynamics. Instead of seeing differences as problems to solve, you can recognize them as invitations to psychological growth and integration. Each relationship becomes a container for becoming more psychologically whole. Jung was fascinated by alchemy, the medieval proto-science that sought to transform base metals into gold. He recognized that alchemical processes perfectly symbolized psychological transformation, especially in relationships. This gives us another profound reason why you're chosen for love. In alchemical terms, relationships are vessels for transformation. When two people come together with the right psychological chemistry, they create what alchemists call the vessel of transformation, a container where both can be transformed into something more precious and refined than either could become alone. Jung discovered that we unconsciously seek partners who will catalyze our psychological transformation. We're drawn to people who will challenge us, confront us with our shadows, break down our defenses, and ultimately help us become more whole. And they're drawn to us for the same reason. This alchemical quality explains why your most significant relationships often involve both profound connection and conflict. The very person who feels like your soulmate will inevitably challenge your deepest patterns and defenses. This isn't a sign that the relationship is wrong, it's a sign that the alchemical process is working. According to Jung, this alchemical transformation follows distinct stages, similar to the stages alchemists identified in their work. Initial attraction, the nigredo or blackening, breakdown of projections, the albedo or whitening, confrontation with shadow elements, the rubedo or reddening, and finally, psychological gold, integration and wholeness. Most relationships never reach the final stage because people retreat when the alchemical process becomes challenging. They mistake the necessary breakdown of projections and confrontation with shadow elements as signs the relationship is failing, rather than recognizing these as essential stages in the transformational process. When someone chooses you for love at this alchemical level, they're unconsciously recognizing you as the perfect catalyst for their transformation. Something in your essence, your strengths, your wounds, your challenges, creates exactly the chemical reaction they need for their own growth. This is why relationships that have the greatest potential for transformation often feel both deeply right and profoundly challenging. The very qualities that make someone perfect for your growth journey will inevitably challenge your most entrenched patterns. Understanding this alchemical dimension gives you a completely different perspective on relationship challenges. Instead of seeing conflicts as problems to be solved, you can recognize them as part of the transformational process, the heat and pressure needed to create psychological gold. Jung observed that our most transformative relationships often involve this alchemical quality. When two people commit to the full alchemical journey together, staying present through each stage of transformation, they create a relationship that transforms both into something neither could have become alone. Now that we've explored these profound Jungian reasons why you're chosen for love, let's integrate this wisdom into a practical understanding that can transform your relationships. Jung discovered that the ultimate purpose of relationship isn't happiness or comfort, it's psychological growth and wholeness. When you understand that you're chosen for love because you facilitate someone else's journey to wholeness, through Anima/Animus projection, shadow work, archetypal resonance, synchronicity, the wounded healer dynamic, psychological type complementarity, and alchemical transformation, you approach relationships with entirely different expectations and awareness. Instead of asking, will this person make me happy? You might ask, will this relationship make me more whole? Instead of avoiding people who challenge your patterns, you might recognize those challenges as invitations to growth. Instead of seeing relationship difficulties as failures, you might see them as necessary stages in the transformational process. This Jungian perspective transforms how you view both yourself and others. You begin to recognize that you're not just seeking a partner, you're seeking a psychological journey. The people drawn to you aren't just making romantic choices, they're responding to deep unconscious patterns seeking expression and integration. When you understand why you're chosen for love from this Jungian perspective, you develop tremendous compassion both for yourself and others. You recognize that many of the painful patterns in relationships aren't personal failures, they're psychological processes seeking resolution. You develop patience with both your own growth journey and others. This understanding also helps you make more conscious choices in relationships. Instead of being driven solely by unconscious attraction, you can ask, what is this attraction telling me about my own psychological needs? What aspects of myself am I projecting onto this person? What psychological growth might this relationship facilitate? Jung believed that conscious relationship, where both people are aware of these psychological dynamics, creates the possibility for what he called the third thing. This isn't just two people coming together, it's the creation of something greater than either individual, a relationship that serves something larger than personal satisfaction. This is ultimately why you're chosen for love, according to Jung's profound understanding, because you participate in this larger purpose of psychological growth and integration. You represent something essential in someone else's journey to wholeness, just as they represent something essential in yours. The love that transforms us isn't always comfortable or easy. It challenges our deepest patterns, confronts us with our shadows, and demands growth. But it's this transformative love that Jung believed was most worth pursuing. Love that makes us more whole, more integrated, more fully ourselves. As we conclude this exploration, I want to leave you with this profound Jungian insight. You're not chosen for love despite your wounds, shadows, and challenges, you're chosen precisely because of them. Your full humanity, your light and your darkness, your strengths and your vulnerabilities, creates the perfect psychological container for someone else's growth. You're chosen for love for these two powerful reasons, according to Carl Jung. You represent both the ideal, Anima/Animus, and the unrealized potential, shadow, that someone else needs to become whole. When you understand and embrace this profound truth, every relationship becomes an opportunity for transformation. If you found this exploration valuable, Please subscribe to continue this journey into Jungian psychology and relationships. Share this video with someone who might benefit from understanding these profound dynamics. And remember, the path to love isn't about finding perfection, it's about finding wholeness. Until next time, may your relationships be conscious, transformative, and deeply meaningful.